Hello,
Woo.
and welcome to the Sohbet Punx podcast, episode, drumroll, some sort, 100.
Woo. Hey.
Yeah.
New setting of party cannons.
This really is an auspicious occasion.
I still don't know what auspicious means after 100 episodes.
I haven't been saying it for 100 episodes.
I know. It feels like it.
Yeah, tell me about it. This is a huge day,
Isn't it?
for us all, including you,
Is it?
the listener.
100 episodes.
100 episodes, and I believe almost exactly 5 years.
Yeah, I think it is almost. It was what, January 2021?
And it is now December 2025.
There you go.
And
Okay.
yes, that is 5 years because you have to include the one.
There you go.
So it's not 4 years.
Oh.
You smart Alec.
I don't know if that's directed at me because I feel like I said it was
No, that
4
was
years.
directed very much at the listener.
The listener who hasn't said a thing to you.
Well, we've
But just in
started.
case.
We've started on the wrong foot,
We
haven't we?
have started on the wrong foot. 100 episodes. Thank you for anyone who's been listening all that long time.
Do you
And
think
thank you to
anybody?
Has anyone?
I mean, you haven't. So I was going to say, apart from me, who's had to edit every single episode and therefore by default listen to them.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anybody out there that's listened to all 100, every second of every one? No.
There's one person that's like close to it, I reckon. But I don't know
Okay.
if there's anyone that's been listening since Breakfast Punx days. Well, there must be because I don't know how you'd find out about this otherwise. But I imagine our listenership has changed. Listenership. Our listen. Oh my! Well, I can't say it now. Our listenership has probably changed somewhat.
Yeah, I should
but I
imagine so.
think-
As has the podcast.
Yeah, true.
in some fairly major ways.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if there's a single person.
So those of you who don't know, we started this podcast under the guise of Breakfast Punx.
Yeah.
And back then, we had a whole hodgepodge of different things that we used to do, turns out. I'd forgotten about some of them. So we used to eat something and talk about it.
We only did that for maybe the first 5 episodes. It quickly died.
It might have been a
off.
bit more, but yeah. And then we'd have a different coffee.
Yeah.
Because we had recently lost the cafe that we ran. So
Yeah.
it felt like one way to sort of maintain. I don't even know. And I was still running Sham City Roasters, so I suppose that was the coffee, trying to get you all to buy some of my wares. And we would do some news stories. We would review a movie.
We'd play music from various bands.
We would play
that we knew
music.
Or didn't know, but they were, new and interesting to us.
That's correct. And then we would pick a different topic. That bit hasn't really changed that much, I suppose.
No, I guess
Although the
it's-
nature of the topic has. So just before we went on air, we did listen to some brief snippets of the first ever episode. I have to say, the sound quality wasn't quite as bad as I was expecting it to be, although it wasn't great.
Well, it used to be tiny little, I don't know, lapel mics. I don't know what you'd call them, but
Lapel mics, you could call them.
Tiny little lapel mics, like hanging off the side of a laptop. Whereas now
Professional.
we have actual microphones.
We do.
Feel very proper.
Well done. But we sounded, I don't know, what did you think? Review us, Siobhan.
Highly embarrassing and made me want to hurt myself. It was horrible. I think at the beginning, I was expecting it to sound a lot worse, actually. Not just sound quality, but I don't know, presentation-wise, I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I think we over-prepared that first episode, and we've learnt our lesson and not really prepared too many since. But it doesn't sound it. It just sounds like we've got lots of words to say, and it's all kind of coming out quite quick. And
I
then,
think we sound quite scared, which
Yeah,
we probably were,
definitely
I suppose. It does make
were.
sense, but I feel like our
Definitely.
voices sound different.
Yeah, no, we don't sound too relaxed. And juxtapose that with the third episode we did. We left a microphone running whilst we watched.
Actually, Siobhan, that was the 4th episode. Just for any listener out there that wants to go back and cross-examine the things that we're now talking about.
Early episode, far too early and far too brazen.
No, episode 4.
Episode 4. Episode 4, we watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy and get drunk through it and sort of play a drinking game, but it doesn't really transpire that. It's not obvious that that's what we've done. And it's us trying to watch and review the film as we're watching it. It's hard to hear. I mean, you've been sober for a year, so I imagine I feel embarrassed by it. I can't imagine how you feel.
It was a very unusual experience, actually.
It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be if you were a daily drinker and you went back and listened to a recording of yourself whilst drunk, you would probably be a bit embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
But you're right. After a year of sobriety, it was strange.
It was horrible.
And it was strange because, I mean, 5 years is quite a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, as I think it had you listened to this podcast throughout this entire run, you will probably get the impression that we've changed quite a lot as people over the course of those 5 years. And so it's odd to go back and sort of sit in your own head.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice in a way. And I feel a little bit like it will be something, if we make it to 80, it might be quite nice to go back and listen to ourselves when we were very young, very young.
I think that, I think we discussed this whilst we were making it, because I think we've always said, we do this podcast kind of for us, kind of as like a journal, kind of with the idea of, listening back in some years, like you just said. But having now done that, 5 years already feels like it's long, and I already don't like it. So I wonder how. I feel listening to it, I'm like, gosh, we did this and we put this out for people. I mean, what were we thinking and what were we doing?
We were way more popular back then.
Yeah, well, that's maybe that's maybe we should just get drunk and shout about films again. But yeah, it was strange to hear. So yeah, but maybe, I don't know, when we're 80 and we think, gosh, I'd love to have. To still be able to do that, I don't know. We might still be doing this when we're 80.
Well, maybe that's worth then saying, again, on the off chance this is the first time you're listening to us, or you've not listened many times, is that then, around about episode 60-ish, I think, we then changed the name to the Sohbet Punx podcast, and we started talking about things of a spiritual nature, things with a bit more meaning. I think, respectively, we've both gone on very different journeys, but we were both thinking more deeply about things that wasn't getting drunk and watching 3 Lord of the Rings films whilst you had hiccups for 4 hours.
Horrible to hear. Don't go back.
And in some ways, I think that fits even nicer into that idea that this is some sort of a diary journal of our lives. Because if you even go back, for me, definitely, as you will know if you listened to the last couple of episodes, going back 20 episodes ago, which is a year-ish, I know that it will be very different. I will be a very different person to who I am now. And I think that's true of you as well. I don't know whether you would agree. But so in that context, actually going back 5 years feels like listening to 2 different people being buffoons.
Yeah.
And maybe going back a year will sound like 2 different people being buffoons as well, but being buffoons about slightly more meaningful things, maybe?
I guess it's...
well, they're definitely more meaningful than getting drunk and watching 3 episodes of Lord of the Rings.
But it is interesting. You kind of forget how much you're changing on a daily basis, especially if you're meaning to change as well. Like, it's a very boring thing to say, but the kind of taking photos to make sure you can see weight loss and stuff like that, because you don't see it by day. It's a horrible analogy to use, but it's because day by day you don't really notice changes in yourself. And I think that's the same with if you're trying to make any kind of positive impact on yourself in a spiritual or a just general life way. It's kind of quite outstanding, the difference that listening back to our conversations had. I truly, 20 minutes ago when we were listening to it, I just felt horrible. It was just so strange. Some of it wasn't horrible. Some of it, again, I thought the first episode was going to sound way worse than it did. And I think scared is probably the only negative, really. Other than that, I was surprised it wasn't that bad. But yeah, and then hearing, a little bit later when we think we found our feet and decide just getting drunk on the sofa will do it. I don't know. I
think in fairness, it was out of basically desperation. I remember we came up with this idea of making a podcast because we were in lockdown and more or less just this would be a good use of our time. Yeah. And I think it was a good use of our time in that context and has been a good use of our time throughout for different reasons. But once you start something and you say it's going to be every 2 weeks and you've only come up with ideas for what you're going to talk about in the first couple of episodes, I think by the time we got to episode 4, ladies and gentlemen, we were already desperately trying to think of stupid things to do. And actually, it probably got better because I think we got into the swing of it more. This is the thing.
Yeah.
When you start doing something completely off the hoof, I don't know if that's the right saying, you just have no idea. And then once you find your feet a little bit, then you start actually thinking about things. And I don't know, because we certainly haven't listened through all 100 episodes, but it seems like once we got a vague idea of what we were doing, we were then actually researching stuff.
Well, and it's kind of twofold. Like I think problematically, we definitely thought that was a good use of an episode at the time. I remember we were like, yeah, we could do this about loads of different things, and then we did it and we were like, actually that was a terrible idea.
Well, it stinks of two people with too much time on their hands 100%. As well, though, doesn't it? I mean, we were literally locked down, and it was like we could spend a whole day just drinking and watching Lord of the Rings. That'd be brilliant.
That'd be so funny.
That'd be really funny.
Terrible. But secondly,
it was quite funny, actually.
Bits of it are funny. Don't go back, but if you want to, go. But the other bit to kind of take from that is it's a very real lesson, and you're not going to be good at anything like straight away, and it's quite horrible to put yourself out there. But that's part of the learning process, and so I think I really, really dug my heels in about doing a podcast for a little while. You talked about it long before lockdown, and we've mentioned this a few times. And I just thought, there's no way. Why would anyone want to listen to that? I wouldn't be good. This would be horrible. Blah, 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 blah. Any reason you can think not to do something. And then, listening back, it is kind of it's humbling to do, but it's also listening back. You're like, oh gosh, we really didn't know what we were doing. And you just move forward with learning from each thing. I don't know. It's just
Would you agree with me that it's been a good, and good is maybe not the right word, but good for your confidence? Because I feel a little bit like, definitely at the beginning, I don't think we think about it anymore, but I mean, I think from my perspective, I feel much more confident about just like talking about my thoughts, which may or may not be a good thing. But I think I saw it affect you in quite a big way. Yeah. I think maybe between the podcast and the band, being in a band, I think those two things, and maybe they were of a similar ilk in a way, really helped you in some way. Not that you weren't confident before, but...
Oh, no, I wasn't confident at all. And especially around speaking. And I think one of the things, and it's not going to be obvious, but it's definitely... the two things that I have to think about, and I have to really actively think about, and if I'm having to think about it on the podcast, is something I need to be thinking about in my daily life too, is one, thinking before I speak, and you learn how to formulate a thought, and it's not obvious, but I feel like I've at least improved my attention to it. Whether I've improved doing it is another matter. But it's definitely
think actually that's one good thing about going back. I mean, again, we've to be clear, we've never done this before. It's not like we go and listen to old episodes all the time and are like, oh, aren't we great? We've never done it, ever. And so whilst it was cringy in a lot of ways and I didn't really enjoy doing it, and it was probably the worst thing to do before going on air. Yeah. It just made us both feel a bit sad. But I think you can tell a real difference in that context. We're both like starting sentences that don't go anywhere, or we're sort of introducing things in these really weird ways that don't really make any sense. I think whilst you say it's not obvious, I think you'll be surprised. I think it is really obvious. We don't notice it again because it's microscopic changes.
The doing of it is the only way to get better at that kind of confidence and leading with having a purpose to your sentence. So I can see that that's different, and I definitely, even if it doesn't come out correct, I definitely attend to it in my brain a bit better. And so I'm hoping that that's carrying over in the real world as well. I have no idea if it does, but there's definitely something about this kind of third person audience that helps that. So that's been really good. But the other thing is, and this it's not going to be wildly evident that it's improved, but I can feel it's improved just a smidge, is the not interrupting. And that comes from having confidence that you will have your place to speak. And it also comes from, if you've said your thought more correctly in the first place, you won't then think of the thing that you want to say and desperately be trying to butt in with it. And that's something that I've definitely had to work on. And I have to work on in my real life an awful lot. It comes from fear of being not heard, fear of not getting a chance to speak, which is all silly self-imposed things that you allow yourself to do if when you are given your chance to speak, you just flabber on with no confidence. So this has definitely helped me with that.
Good.
I would say.
I think something's come out of it.
Yeah. How about you? I always saw you as quite a confident speaker and quite good at formulating your thoughts and quite good at, you know, having conversations with people. I mean, in the 5 years that we've been doing this, you've since gone on a bit of a personal figuring out of extroversion and introversion and all sorts of other things come along with that, and how this is actually a bit harder for you than it sounds. But yeah, how have you found?
I don't think I can judge that at all. I mean, I've never felt as if I'm a confident person. So how I come across and how I am inside is clearly different. But I think maybe on a slightly different point, but related, this podcast has happened over a period of time where my life has changed in immeasurable ways. And I'm not just talking about the last sort of 6 months, although that's probably the biggest thing. But when we first started doing this, and, you know, lockdown was kind of a big time for me, and as much as I started reading a lot more, it led on roads to end up going back to study. It made me just generally take an interest in sort of personal development things and making life better and thinking about spiritual things and all of these different stuff. It's all happened over the period of this time, and it's not like the 40 years before were full of that. So I don't know, to some extent I think the podcast did encourage me to read more, because we, by necessity almost, we needed stuff to talk about. It was also around about the time that I started writing poetry, and I suppose poetry sort of encouraged that as well. I was kind of, certainly during lockdown, and to some extent for a while afterwards, I was just sort of looking for stuff that I could turn into something else. And I think so that definitely took me on a journey just from the perspective of taking interest in things, reading things, listening to things, watching things. But I don't necessarily think I feel any more confident than I did when we started, really. But probably I am. I think I am, in as much as I feel much more comfortable with my own opinions now. I feel much more confident about expressing opinions, whatever they may be, than I did at the beginning. And I think I remember quite clearly when we very first started being a bit aware of like, I better word things really carefully.
Yeah.
And I don't have controversial ideas particularly, so I don't think, well, apart from that Jesus is my saviour, I suppose that's become quite controversial in some people's eyes. But you know, I think I was always just scared of my own shadow a little bit as far as talking about my own opinions.
Yeah.
And I think this podcast has had a very direct impact on me realising, do you know what? I don't have anything bad to say.
Yeah.
So why am I so worried about saying it?
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's twinned with the kind of spiritual and personal growth, and that kind of, I think one thing that we've both taken out of, sorry, I don't mean to speak for you, but definitely something I've taken out of it, and I think you also, is this kind of thing about intention and having good intentions no matter what. And everything we've explored and kind of looked at during the podcast has always been about that. Even when we were doing, not as Sohbet Punx, but when we were doing Breakfast Punx and we were looking at weird and wonderful groups, you know, we always kind of picked the ones that, if they were nefarious in any way, we noted it. But I feel like, I don't know, we've kind of always got room for, room for the weirdos and room for the, let's be, you know, John Ronson about this and try and see all sides to these kind of weird and wonderful people. Yeah,
I think if there's a thread that I hope has come through, it's one of sort of forgiveness and seeing both sides and being thoughtful.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we're perfect at any of those things by any means, but I think that's always been our intention. And it's interesting because we've never actually sat down and talked about what is the point of this podcast.
Well, I think it's that's true.
And yet that I do think that we both happen to be people that those things are quite important to us.
But I think when we started this podcast, and I kind of joined this on to when you said about, you know, you were kind of careful about what you said. I think that's the big change. Like, I think through learning about weird and wonderful things and being open, I've learned like reciprocally to be more open and find out more about things and be more balanced in my opinions, and therefore have less opinions or try to, which I always thought was maybe a weak or a naive thing to do, and I don't see it as weak or naive, but if it is those things, then that's fantastic to me, because I think that's better than being bullheaded and rubbishy with opinions and starting arguments with people for no reason, which I think, given that we did this in the midst of lockdown, that was very much the ether of the time.
Oh, very much, yeah.
People screaming at each other, screaming at friends via the internet, and you're like, oh, this is awful. So I think we kind of by default ended up doing the opposite and finding out about weird and wonderful people and just celebrating everything, including opinions that weren't our own.
Yeah, well, ultimately we're all fallen, imperfect people who sin. No, we're all fallen, imperfect people whose opinions are not right ever. They can't possibly be 100% right at all times. Yeah. So hopefully, whilst we are both opinionated and have expressed all sorts of different opinions across these 100 episodes, hopefully it's come across that the point is that we aren't right any more than anybody else is right, no matter who those people are, no matter how controversial or not controversial, or how anti your opinion or not anti your opinion they are. Everyone's imperfect.
Exactly. Do not, with that in mind, go back and listen to episode 4, because you will hear some very strong opinions about the cast of Lord of the Rings.
Mostly their faces.
Yeah, it's not our finest moment.
It's very unusual.
Please forgive us for that.
So we like to start the Sohbet Punx podcast by talking about one thing that has filled our life over the past 2 weeks with a sense of spirituality, or I've forgotten all the other ones. Joy.
Joy isn't one, but throw it in. And why not? We're in the midst of Advent and we can't agree on what those weeks mean either. So let's say them all.
We know this. We're currently in the week of peace.
Okay, is Joy next week?
Joy's next week.
Fantastic. So but joy is not usually. It's usually spirituality, meaning, transcendence, and awe.
So Siobhan, what have you done in the last couple of weeks that's filled you with that?
Mine's quite a simple one. It's something around a sense of community, a sense of accomplishment, and all under the big, wonderful, lovely sky that we've had the last few days. I have a buddy at the gym who did a charity running thing. He did a 5-kilometer run every hour for 12 hours, raising money for diabetes, I believe. And he has stepped in for me a few times in CrossFit competitions over the last few years. And so I thought I would try and do this. I have not run in probably about 2 years. And so I thought, if he's going to do it 12 times, I'm going to have a go at least doing it once. And I went stupid early in the morning so I could see a friend who was visiting, who was only visiting for the first few hours. So at 5 in the morning, well, about 4:30 in the morning, getting down to Hastings Seafront. And the sky... It's really pathetic to say potentially, because I'm sure a lot of people can go out and see clear sky all the time, but we haven't had a lot of clear sky recently. It's been really rubbishy looking in the sky. But this was the most ridiculously clear night, so full of stars, and then getting to do this thing, the beginning of something that was going to be really hard for the group of people that were doing it all day. 2 of them were running every one of the 12. And just getting to do one little bit of it with some people who I only know 2 of them. And it was just really lovely. One of the main things that I remember noting about it is before we started, and all these boys are at least 10 years my younger, if not a lot younger. They're incredibly young, incredibly... I don't know how young children are nowadays, but, you know.
The same age they ever were.
I know, but they're young about town boys that... I'm sure they've got interest in various things. Who knows? I have nothing in connection with them other than the fact that they're dragging me around for this run. But I have taken in the sky and gone, oh, that's really lovely. But then at least 2 or 3 of them were like pointing up at the sky, identifying constellations. And I'm thinking, oh, I think that's such and such. And I think that's such and such. But I'm keeping it to myself because I'm thinking I'm the weird grandma that no one's going to talk to about stars. And then lo and behold, before we do this 5K run, here's some like 23-year-old boys that are all pointing at the sky, comparing what constellations they all know. And it was just one of these really lovely moments where I was like, I already feel a little bit scared that I'm going to have to do this run with these incredibly fit people. I'm going to be dragging people behind, and that's all in my own brain.
It sounded to me like you said incredibly thick people.
No.
I'm pretty sure you didn't, but I just thought it important to bring up in case any of them hear this. Maybe it doesn't on the recording, I don't know.
Incredibly fit and healthy. Let's just qualify it that way. Incredibly thick people.
I did this lovely thing with these incredibly thick people. Well, and Siobhan sums up CrossFit.
There we go. Oh my God, isn't that awful? But there was just something really lovely. I mean, there is also something really lovely about that time in the morning when there's absolutely no one around. And just feeling, also, just to say, and I've run very early in the morning since on the seafront. There's something else to be said about, we live in a world where everything's very scary, and especially as a woman, we, live in a world where we hear lots of stories about people being attacked or whatever at random times of whenever, and we just hear about it more and more and more now, and there could be so many reasons for that, but I think having access to all information at all time probably helps with that a little bit. I just want to counteract that with just how safe and lovely that time in the morning felt, which I think we only ever hear the horror stories about, someone was walking home at 4:30 in the morning and something horrible happened. Sorry to just make this kind of horrible. I just want to say that I felt this really lovely sense of the opposite. Really peaceful, really wonderful. The sky may have helped, but I went out in the same time in the morning a couple of days ago in the midst of a bit of a storm, and I still felt like I don't know if it's the sea, I don't know if it's the sky, I don't know if it's just a good mood, but yeah, it's just been a really wonderful experience doing these little things with these people.
It's the week. Bill Hicks bit, isn't it, about you turn the telly on and it says war, famine, death, and then you open your window and there's just birds singing and the sun's out. Oh my goodness. And it's not to say that therefore there is no war, famine or death and that we can just forget about it, not by any means, but yeah, that's the reality of life, isn't it?
And I think you can kind of accidentally shut yourself off to having the nice things, because everybody is continuously shutting themselves off from the nice things. You're picking your words carefully all of a sudden in a way that we just talked about how we didn't do anymore. Ultimately, all of this comes from being bombarded with misery continuously and choosing to look at said misery continuously. And you just might miss the really fun bits.
You
really
miss
nice
all
bits.
The fun bits. You miss everything that's worthwhile.
I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they were going to walk home from... they'd been to the gym's Christmas thing the other week, and they were going to walk home, and they don't live too far away, but they were just waiting for a taxi round the corner, and two people drove past and went, "Oh, are you going to be okay there? Are you going to be okay there waiting on the corner?" And it's just we're riling each other up to think that we're going to be attacked at any moment. Again, I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. I think the Bill Hicks quote kind of summed it up really well, but I almost second guessed myself going out running along the seafront at 5:30 the other morning. But I'm really glad I didn't, because actually the reality is it was really lovely. It was really wonderful, and I never felt...
And what's the other alternative? Just not living any life ever. Yeah. Because you're scared of everything. You might as well take some degree of risk, if you even want to call it risk, in order to actually live your life. I'd rather die doing something than sit at home just in case I die.
Yeah. Exactly that. So... long and short of it, going for a run at stupid early in the morning with some quite inspiring people who, for some reason, thought the stars were really cool as well, which was really, really nice. But yeah, that's mine. Dave, how about you? What have you done the last 2 weeks that has brought you a sense of meaning, transcendence, or spirituality, joy, peace, love, kindness, all the nice things?
Well, I think I felt all of those various random things that you just said I got the opportunity to help out at a sort of charity gala, I suppose you might call it. No, it's not a gala. I'm going to call it a gala. It was a fundraiser, but it was just a meal. But it was via my church, so I can say now because I've come out, and it was trying to raise some money. But I got the opportunity to help out a chef who has worked in Michelin star restaurants and done all sorts of different things. And so I didn't do any amount of the cooking. There was no skill involved as far as I was concerned. I was just there to kind of help out. But I got to plate up a few things, and we sort of. But the lovely thing about it was that it was a small team of people, one of whom, obviously, the chef knew exactly what he was doing, clearly, but the rest of us just didn't. We just sort of said, "Yeah, we'll come and help and do whatever you need us to do." And they were people that I know but don't know like terribly well, so it was really lovely because obviously we got closer as a result of it, but also just kind of like working alongside a bunch of people. The charity that it was for is for helping young people get into work, so a lot of the people that were helping with the event were those young people who were kind of helping out with the event as well. And I don't often get a chance to spend time with like 17 and 18-year-olds and probably have all sorts of different opinions about what I imagine 17 and 18-year-olds are doing. Similar to you, really, with your going for a run with some 23-year-olds and looking at the stars. You know, they were just all really cool and really great and nice people. And of course, why wouldn't they be? Of course they were. And it was just a lovely experience. It was a lovely experience both to sort of bond with a bunch of people I didn't know over doing something that I didn't know how to do. So that was nice. Obviously, it's sort of nice to help out as well. And, you know, everyone was just so lovely. Everyone was so appreciative. It was just wonderful.
Oh, sounds really nice. And something that I think is really important or interesting about this, and I think has happened for you a few occasions of late, is, as you said, it's something you didn't know what you were doing and you didn't necessarily know the people that you were doing it with. I remember a time when you would definitely not have done something like that and put yourself in a position where you would be so vulnerable.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that is a very new thing, which if anybody wants to hear about the reasons for that, you can listen to the last couple of episodes. I mean, I feel a sense of peace and a lack of anxiety which I have never felt before, and it makes so many things. I suppose it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in so many ways. What it means is that you can put yourself out there to do things, and as a result of putting yourself out there to do things, you become more confident in doing that.
100%.
And you also get good experiences doing that. And so it sounds sad, really, as a 45-year-old man to say that I'm just learning to do those things. I mean, I think that's probably exactly what we should all be learning when we're 17 or 18, as these kids were. But yeah, unquestionably, I would not have done this.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
I think it's also finding that first step, whether it be the way that you found. I think there is a difference between your experience and just trying something for the first time and seeing that you don't fail. It's a bit like what we were talking about with the podcast earlier. We did it. We didn't completely embarrass ourselves. Or we did. I mean, we've just listened to some of those
Turns out we did, yeah.
And they're horrendous. But it doesn't stop you from doing it. And I guess that you've definitely had a bit of a push to start this. But like you say, now a lot of it is you as well. Like you're out there, you're putting yourself out there, you're doing things, you're not failing. Or if you are failing, it's not life ending.
Well, also, it doesn't really matter.
And it doesn't matter, and you're just carrying on. And I think it's just...
We're all going out at 4:30 in the morning and we're not getting killed. And if you keep going out at 4:30 in the morning and not getting killed, before you know it, going out at 4:30 just becomes normal and you don't think about being killed anymore.
Exactly. You can't tell what's going to happen to you. You just got to live.
There you go. So, what happens now on this podcast, Siobhan?
Well...
Good evening, everyone, and the highlights of the news this Thursday.
Breaking news is part of this job.
You are fake news. This is what's happening in your world tonight. It's fucking news.
So, harking back to the Breakfast Punx days of old, we've decided that we're going to go back and do some news stories delvings.
Because I don't know if we mentioned, but this is episode 100.
100! I must say, it's actually been quite fun to... Well, I say fun.
Has it?
No.
Let's talk about the process before. This is going to be a long episode anyway. We might as well just chill out and relax into it.
It's been lovely not looking at the news in any format at all for a really long time now. To the point where I completely forgot to do this bit and prepare for it in any way. So mine was kind of like frantically looking at news websites this morning. But I'm not going to lie, finding myself on the Daily Express website once again. I haven't missed this.
No, I mean, I think I also, typing in weird news stories to Google, which is what we used to do every episode.
Yeah.
And just, I got into the routine of more or less doing that on a daily basis, I think.
Yeah.
I must say, I don't know whether this is us changing or the world changing, but I'm pretty sure there used to be some really funny things in the news. And everything that I could find was just somebody's caught a video of something silly on their social media, and it's got this amount of likes. That's what the news is. And don't get me wrong, I remember the news the sort of news we were looking at back then wasn't too dissimilar to that. But I've had a real hard time finding, and sorry, just to burst the bubble of anyone that thought, oh, brilliant, they brought the news back. Nothing good.
No, and also those who don't know this at all, like maybe you're like a newer listener, apologies. We'll get back to spirituality soon.
Nothing spiritual about this section.
But I have found some nice ones. So, doctors trial butt breathing technique that could help emergency patients. Medical professionals are earnestly investigating whether humans can absorb oxygen through their bottoms. Scientists at Cincinnati Children's Hospital and the University of Osaka have been testing rectal breathing methods to increase oxygen levels when traditional lung function proves insufficient.
Isn't this just a backwards fart? Surely it doesn't get to the place where it needs to get, does it? You're just...
Well, no, so it does. I mean, it is actually really clever. Because I think the walls of, it's a bit like an enema or giving medication via the rectum. It happens really quick. So, if someone's fitting, the method you're meant to give, if you can't get midazolam in the mouth, it's diazepam up the butt.
All right, Nurse Siobhan.
Well, my brother used to have fits, so he used to do. Anyway, I never had to. But diazepam...
we do the news one time, Siobhan, and you immediately get to your brother's butt.
Sorry. But diazepam up the butt rectal diazepam is what you do in a fit, because going in the mouth is dangerous as well.
Yeah.
But also the membranes in your mouth, it's about as thin in your butt. You've ever heard of people when they want to take like an ecstasy pill and really quickly feel the effects? It's kind of like folklore to put it up your butt.
Right.
But there is a truth.
Isn't the world a beautiful place?
But there's truth in it. It's because the blood vessels in your intestine wall and in your rectum are really quick absorbing.
But oxygen needs to get to your lungs, right?
Well, no, because your lungs process it and it puts oxygen in your blood.
Yeah.
So
right.
Technically, the lungs take longer. We should all be breathing through our butts. But I guess.
Well, we've just got ourselves a title for this episode.
But I guess there's such a big capacity in your lungs. Your lungs are built to take in an awful lot of air to then absorb an awful lot of oxygen. I don't know how you get it up the butt.
What's the technique? Does it explain?
It doesn't really. It's about enemas. So how much volume of liquid can you put up someone's butt that has oxygen in it?
So you're not. So it's not breathing.
I don't think it's putting like actual air up the butt, but I'm kind of.
I cannot stress this enough. I think if you put air up your butt, air just comes back out your butt.
Exactly.
Is that not literally how we're made?
Well, so a handful of participants reported experiencing stomach discomfort, although the majority coped reasonably well despite a bit of bloating and minor uneasiness. Nothing about farts, all about liquid. 27 Japanese men.
I mean, liquid farts are worse than air farts.
A liquid fart is not a fart any longer. 27 Japanese men. Don't know why they've mentioned it's Japanese men. I don't know if that's the Daily Express adding that detail or if that's needed to be there.
Have they described anybody else as boffins?
Not yet. But they received oxygen-free enemas to establish the maximum volume of liquid participants could endure over 1 hour. Endure is not what you want to read in that. And
I can endure loads of oxygen up my butt.
And the person one of the people that have been doing the research got a Nobel Prize. I mean, that can't be right, but maybe it is right.
I don't know.
Right. Oh, an IG Nobel Prize. What's an IG Nobel Prize?
I've absolutely no idea.
No idea. And the person who collected it said, "Thank you so much for believing in the potential of the anus." So that's
nice. There you go.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we could be breathing through our butts in
Do you think
emergency situations.
Do you think that's what Elon Musk is thinking we're going to be doing when we get to Mars? Just
breathing through our butts?
Well, no, just there won't be any oxygen, so are we just going to shove liquid oxygen into ourselves?
You'd have to just put a little ice cube of liquid oxygen up yourself every, I don't know, well, they're figuring out how much we can endure per hour, so maybe if we had it in ice...
I don't want to move to Mars.
I don't plan on moving to Mars. I don't think you'll be invited.
Good point. All right, well, sticking to a sort of medical issue... of sorts. So again, if you're a long-term listener, you'll know that most of these stories revolve around some sort of bodily function.
There's almost always the butt, isn't it?
This one isn't. Side effects of jelqing, I'll explain in a minute, explained as penis influencer describes why men are doing it.
Penis influencer is my main question.
That was my main question too. The side effects of a new penis-related trend have been explained as more and more men are trying it out for themselves. Jelqing is the term doing the rounds online. So what jelqing is...
I don't miss being online that much.
And I do not either. From what I can make out, jelqing is meant to elongate it.
Oh.
He explains jelqing is basically... This is the penis influencer who we'll get to in a minute. Jelqing is basically a principle where you get your D in a semi-erect state, make an okay grip at the bottom, and gradually move it towards the top, exposing it to different higher levels of pressure. Now, I would argue there's another word for this, which is very old-fashioned. But anyway, it's supposed to create micro... So I think you do this with some. I don't know why he describes an okay grip. I think it's probably quite a tight grip because it's meant to create micro tears in the tissue. And then as your body is healing them, it will microscopically elongate your member.
But this sounds like medieval torture, like how to get taller. You just turn up, in one of those machines that pulls your arms and your
utter rubbish,
legs apart, and then you just go, I'm going to get longer. Or the things that make your neck longer by putting the neck stretchy things.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do work, in fairness. Those people do have long necks.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe jelqing is the thing to do.
But he sounds a bit like he's just
the YouTuber
a hard wank.
Known as Hink, I don't know, I don't think that's a reference to anything, is known as a penis influencer as he shares advice online on how you can grow your willy. That's all we know about him. Thanks to the Daily Mirror. The Lad Bible. So his life is not fulfilled in any way, shape or form.
That's a penis influencer.
That's certainly not a spiritual life.
No.
The world is a crazy place, and I don't want to exist in it anymore.
That's nearly that lovely film. Go watch it.
Why would it be so important for one to grow said area of their body that you would actually purposefully damage yourself? That was my initial reaction, and then I thought about all of the other ways in which people are doing that. Ozempic probably being the main one.
Oh gosh,
there is a strange thing going on in our culture. I'm not saying it's really new. I mean, I think you could trace this back to plastic surgery. You could probably trace it way back.
Well, there's something for every kind of generation, I'd say.
But
also, it's look better, like contextually at the time. Like, what is attractive changes over time. So why would you deliberately harm yourself to look what in that decade or time is quote unquote attractive? It's just kind of bonkers to me because nearly all of it involves some sort of pain or some sort of unnatural thing that you do to yourself. But
you could say the same. So there's nothing wrong with pain or doing something unnatural. I mean, that's true of any exercise.
Yeah,
I think
true.
It's that this is just such pure vanity.
Also, I'm not being funny about. I'm gonna give myself away. If you're stretching your penis physically, like micro tears and all, does it not just mean that you'll just have a bigger floppy one? But when it's erect, surely it just goes to the same size because you haven't changed the meat, have you? Maybe I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what jelqing was. Are these micro tears down to the like the meaty bit inside.
See, I don't know. Those weren't the questions that I had about this. The question that I had about this was it may be longer, but it will be bright red. Surely that's not attractive. Yeah, you're not going to want to do anything with it. Because it really hurts.
To do anything with it.
No, because it's bright red.
Yeah. Look at that massive but bright red jelqed penis.
But you say massive. Look at that 3 millimeters longer than it was in the first instance. A bright red thing that doesn't work anymore.
That seems quite painful when I touch it. Well, this one, I can't decide if it's funny or if it's interesting or if it's just silly, but I'm in it. Deathbed statement from respected Area 51 scientist explodes understanding of aliens. Explodes. I would say that it absolutely does not explode anything, but I am thoroughly intrigued that this older gentleman decided that in the later hours of his life, he would just come out with some wonderful stuff. And it reminded me of our Unarius trip. He's called Boyd Bushman. He actually died...
Oh, what a name.
I know, Boyd Bushman, who worked for Area 51.
Of course he did.
And there is a picture of him. It's a still of a YouTube image, of a YouTube video, I think. So, and the YouTube link is not here. So I am going to have to now go and find the footage of him talking to find out... Just
a simple Google of his name, I imagine. There can't be more than one.
But, David, I only had 5 minutes. But this is a man that claimed to have worked in Area 51. He actually died nearly 10 years ago. But for some reason, this is coming out now, and I'm not sad about it. He, by all accounts, was a senior scientist, engineer, and he ended up with 28 patents in his name. Including an array of classified technologies. So he was, by all accounts, an intelligent and successful scientist. When he had his groundbreaking final stance, which I think is whatever the YouTube video is of him not long for this world, he suggested that alien spaceships may have inspired his brilliance and that he has encountered many aliens whilst in Area 51 whilst working for the government. This sounds like Unarius again, being inspired by aliens to do great things.
It does. And he's described his own brilliance there.
Yeah. He said, actually, everything I've done might have been because I was working with aliens. He said that there were scientists and engineers working on UFOs 24 hours a day, and we're trying to learn what they do. And this is where I'm just like, I mean, this does sound like every film, this is Independence Day 101. The most important job...
That suggests that there's a college class teaching Independence Day. Please let that not be the case.
I think that... I hope there is. I could teach it because I know that film very well. He said the most important part of their job was reverse engineering what technology they could use from the alien technology. He says, I'm a scientist... So of course I don't believe in theory, I follow the data, and so he has to physically test something to see if it's true, otherwise I do not care to accept it. This is when he was talking about anti-gravity technology. But the thing I like the most is when he starts talking about the aliens themselves. He's about to die, so he's like, let me just hit them with everything that I know. The aliens I worked with were divided into two main groups. One are like wranglers and the others are like rustlers, and they're the ones that steal the cattle. The two groups act differently. The ones that are wranglers are much more friendly and have a better relationship with us. He said all the aliens have long fingers, webbed feet, communicate telepathically, and they come from a planet known as Quintumnia, and he shared some photos of aliens and flying saucers.
Quintumnia doesn't sound like it was just made up off the top of his head.
Not at all. Not at all. This is wonderful. That's as far as it goes. Just, I'm sure he's completely true. I love his dedication to, I'm dying, so let me just tell you everything I know. And what I know isn't actually that much.
So that was it. That was his deathbed. That's his deathbed.
His deathbed stance was, I've been a very successful scientist. It's probably because of all the aliens I've worked with. Some of them are nice. Some of them aren't so nice. And they come from Quintumnia.
Okay.
That's nice of him.
I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The obsession with these people's UFOs, they're just looking for angels.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if our obsession with aliens... this comes up in the John Vervaeke book. He does one about zombies and why... our modern culture really likes zombies in films and stuff like that, and what that actually means, and it goes towards the meaning crisis situation. And he says the zombies is kind of the modern day version of what UFOs were to that generation. A little bit of it is you've called it aliens, but I would just say anything higher than humanity, because I think once we've removed an acceptance that there is things bigger and better than humans, that seemed clever for a bit, and then we've just looked at each other and gone, this can't be it. This can't be everything in the world. Surely not.
Yeah, well, it's higher and lower, though, isn't it? I suppose, because zombies, strictly speaking, are us without souls.
Yes.
Which is what we're all slowly becoming.
But I think the aliens we always anticipate are more intelligent than us. And the story is nearly always, they're more intelligent than us. Are they going to come and save us, or are they going to come obliterate us? But it's nearly always that they're better than us. And half the story is they're better than us, will they help us? And that's more in line with, I don't know, religion or a god or angels. And the other is like, are they more intelligent than us, and are they going to smite us? Which is kind of, I don't know, in line with when people say a spiteful god, or the guilt of the human condition in some respects.
Well, yeah, I would argue that the purpose with which we are made is that we are made to seek those things. And so in a world that says there's no God, there's no nothing to believe in, we therefore find those things in useless areas.
Yeah.
And I think that this may sound mildly conspiratorial, but I don't think it's entirely off point. Now we're viewing AI in that way. So AI
or
is
living
the new
forever.
God, or living forever, or just anything that people are grabbing at desperately to try and make meaning of their life. Particularly in the things that clearly don't have any meaning.
Yeah.
So, for example, AI is made without a soul, so it has no meaning. We are just trying to fill a void, which long ago...
Name it, Dave.
We named as the God-shaped hole.
Who named that, actually? That's a quote you keep using.
I honestly can't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember.
There was a time when...
I've stolen it from somebody.
Oh, you stole it from somebody, and now it's so well stolen that I just call that you. That's not you. Like that, I can't remember where you stole that from. It's brilliant. But it's true.
Well, I'm just going to do one more very quickly. Unfortunately, it's another Bart one. Slightly different. We often, back in the day when we used to do these, we would often find news stories about people that put different things...
Up the butt.
Yeah. Say
we. I'm pretty sure it was always you.
No, definitely not Sean. I mean, if I have to prove it, I will, but that would take many hours. This is slightly different. A Faberge egg, which is a limited edition Faberge egg, inspired by the 1983 James Bond film Octopussy, has been recovered.
Oh, fantastic.
After police spent 6 days closely monitoring the man accused of swallowing it. Detectives say the pendant excited the suspect's gastrointestinal tract naturally, without medical intervention. After all, diamonds are forever. A photo has been released showing the collector's item reunited with police, and a gloved hand, clear to say gloves, can be seen around the pendant. The price tag remained intact.
Oh, well done.
And it says that it was worth £14,250. I imagine it's worth slightly less than that now, would be my guess.
Well, there's a kind of coffee that you can get from Madagascar that a lemur swallows the beans and poos out the beans, and it's the most expensive coffee
it is
that you can buy. So I wonder
it's also
if
disgusting.
It's horrible. But I wonder if the egg's gone up in price.
Interesting. I am almost certain it won't.
I mean, it can't have. It can't have. Sorry, a Faberge egg. I don't know how big they are, but I had not imagined they were swallowable.
It's an egg pendant. I didn't make that clear. So it's not quite as big as a Faberge egg, I don't think. But the thing that I like about it the most is, from what I can make out, this guy went into a jeweller's and just
swallowed it.
Lost the thing into his mouth and swallowed it.
What, and thought, I'm going to run out now?
I think so.
And they were like, well, no, you're not. We're just going to put you in a room and watch you poo.
Well, they called the police and they put them in a room and waited for them to poo. 6 days.
6 days.
His gut health cannot be good.
Not correct. I read something the other day about the correct amount to poo. So we'll just do this now. What do you think? What do you think? I'm going to do it. I don't care. What's the correct amount to poo according to
amount, like in grams or
regularity?
Oh,
How many times you should poo. And I read this as an article. They've interviewed some of the healthiest and fittest people, and
I think it's more
regular.
regularly than you think it is. I think it's twice a day.
The window is quite huge, actually.
The window. What does that mean?
The margin that you could have.
Oh, right, between 1 and 10.
It's not that big. So it's between 1 every 2 days, which I think is too less.
That's definitely
Yeah.
too less. No less.
I think that's not less. That's too less. No,
That's way too less.
Way too less. 1 every 2 days to, I think it was 3 times a day.
Yeah,
Anything in between
okay.
that, which is quite a big margin.
Yeah.
But that makes me worried that there are people that don't. Sorry, once every 2 days is not enough. Surely not.
No, I would say unquestionably not. But if you're not having enough fibre in your diet and you're just eating rubbish, then that could be really successful for some people.
That's just cray to me.
I do I don't know. I think I 3 times a day sounds about right. I know that, well, not anymore because it's all junk food now. But back in the day when lots of people were going vegan and there wasn't loads of rubbish to eat, so you just had to eat vegetables, definitely everybody's amount of poos increased.
Oh, really?
By a massive. And do you remember when we talked about this in great depth, I believe, when we went to the silent retreat and we were on this silent retreat and we were fed lots of fibre.
Oh, and it was a purely vegetable.
It was all vegetables.
Vegetarian
And I think
diet.
that a lot of the people that went on this silent retreat, I must say unlike us, because we were already basically eating this diet, saying nothing about our own movements. But some of these people were definitely just eating McDonald's and stuff, just like whatever, a normal Western diet. And then they were just given massive amounts of fibre.
Yeah.
And again, go back and listen to that episode if you want me to describe all of the different sounds I heard in the men's toilets.
I think your side was far worse than our side.
I'm sure it was.
Not to be prude about a woman, but I think we were. Well, I think I was just very lucky.
Prude about a woman. That
Prude
sounds
about-
like a 90s thriller film starring Michelle Pfeiffer.
I was gonna say Michelle Pfeiffer. Why is that? Why is she? Oh gosh.
I have no idea.
And it's still somehow about poos.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Oh, and anything more than 3 is diarrhea.
Right. Sorry. I forgot what we were talking about. Lovely. How
Which
nice.
I thought was a bit unfair.
That
but
does
anyway,
seem a bit unfair.
That does seem a bit unfair.
Anyway,
There's a peek in the window there. Let's not do that.
again, if you want to hear us talk about diarrhea,
No!
you can safely go back about 3 episodes. Whenever we talked about our trip to America, there's plenty of diarrhea chat on that. Now, what did we used to do at the end of these news stories, Siobhan?
Well,
Can you still do the accent?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm very worried about this. My Norfolk accent has not been out for a while. It's coming back. It'll come back the more I keep talking, I reckon.
It will.
All right.
So
all
start
right.
talking, but I'm just going to say to the listener who maybe is joining us for the first time or has only been listening for the last few weeks, I'm not going to explain what's about to happen.
Oh, you're not even going to explain it?
No, you're just going to go for it.
Nah, that's the Norfolk news. As you all know.
as all the fans of Norfolk News will know.
And it's been a while since I've had to look at the Norfolk News. I must say, it ain't very nice. Most of it's awful.
It's not about traffic,
I mean,
is it?
one of it was not a lot about traffic. I mean, most of it was I'm a celeb star, an 80s musician, bringing back a DJ set to Norfolk. That was one of them.
Oh, that
So
sounds
on the news where it says, what category that's going to go under. So is this entertainment?
It's art,
this-
isn't it?
No, it's Martin Kemp. He's got his own. He's got his own category.
Martin Kemp's
Because
not from Norfolk.
He must feature. No, he's just going there. Going there to do his DJ set. Anyway, I ain't talking about that. That is as exciting as it got.
You're just warming up your Norfolk accent.
Yeah, I'm just taking some time. But there is a lovely article on the Evening News at the moment called Weird Norfolk's 20 Strange Old Norfolk Sayings. And it ain't one I've done before. So I've done a lot of learning.
Good.
And you're about to do a lot of learning too. So I'm going to read out some old Norfolk proverbs. And you're going to tell me what they mean.
Oh, okay.
We won't do all 20.
We've definitely done this before.
No,
but
we
yeah,
ain't-
right,
we
they're
ain't
new
done-
ones.
We
They're
ain't
new
done
ones.
this list.
Okay, good.
So, it'll be nice.
Real curveball, Siobhan. This is the one time you're doing Norfolk News and you're not even doing a news story. This is fantastic. Go ahead, please.
It's not the one time because you said I've done this before.
I mean, in forever now. This is your last opportunity.
I know, but there really, truly ain't any good news. And this is good Norfolk news, right? So, what does this mean? I wasn't born in a wood to be scared by an owl. What's that mean, David? It's a proverb from Norfolk.
That is a proverb.
Well, it's got a new meaning for you now, isn't it? Can't use that word.
Yes, right. Crikey. I didn't know Norfolk Siobhan was so hateful.
No, she's not hateful. She just don't understand. Oh, gosh.
Sorry.
I wasn't born in a wood to be scared by an owl.
Well, that's like being scared by things which naturally occur around you.
I'm not as easily frightened as you might think.
Well, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's almost a simplified version
You
of what I
almost
said.
got it. Yeah, we'll do that.
Think simple, Dave. Think simple.
These are simple. This is a
Simple
Norfolk
folks.
proverb
Go
from
on.
the 1800s.
All
By the
right.
way, I forgot to say it's from a book from the 1800s.
That would have helped me.
Would it?
No.
No. You must eat another yard of pudding first.
Well, that's so. I mean, this must be a Norfolk version of you've got to eat all your vegetables before you're allowed your dessert. It's just that none of you have got teeth,
It's
have
a
you?
little
So
bit, but
basically,
it's
you've got to eat that pudding because that's the only goodness you're going to
It's wiser
get.
than that. Think further. You know, what kind of people do you have to tell to eat their
Pudding?
veggies first or their puddings?
Children.
Yeah, so.
So is this for the elderly if they haven't got any teeth and they can't eat their carrot?
No.
You can eat carrots.
Mashing the carrots?
Just mashing their carrots with their
You
gums.
will have to wait until you get older before you can do whatever it is you want to do. Got to get older.
But surely eating pudding is what you want to do. So it doesn't work on any level. Is it suggesting that eating pudding, you've got to like force yourself through the pudding in order to get to what? The pudding is the last thing. It's the what you win with, isn't it?
David, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Right, here's another one. He has a Friday look.
He's ready for the weekend. He's got a Friday look like he's already finished with work and he's put his fancy pants on.
For some reason, I would say it's quite the opposite.
Oh.
He's had enough and he's sulking.
Well, surely Friday's a good day. This isn't making any sense. This is just like the pudding all over again.
All right, I like this one. Go to Bungie to get new bottomed.
This one I've heard before.
Have you?
You've done this on this podcast before.
I swear to you, I've never heard of it.
Right, so Bungie is to get what? Bottomed?
New bottomed.
New bottomed.
It is wonderful, this
Well,
one.
okay, so is Bungie somewhere that people like or don't like? Is it like a scummy area or is it a posh area?
I would say that it has very little to do with
Bungie.
this.
Okay.
But on the side of posh.
All right, I
when it comes to
know.
this.
I know.
Do you?
So in Bungie,
Yeah.
there's loads of trouser shops. And have I got it right?
Keep
and
going.
So new bottomed would suggest that you're buying new trousers. So you can go to Bungie and get your new trousers.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where. I've never heard of this before. And you've pretty much got it. Bungie was well known for producing leather items such as workwear. When the backside wore a wear from a pair of breeches, people from Norfolk would go to Bungie to purchase a new pair or have theirs repaired.
So it's where you get your leather trousers from.
Yeah.
Like you're in an 80s cock rock band.
Oh, well, in the 1800s, but yes.
So loads of Motley Crues in
Loads of
Bungie
Motley
in the
Crues.
1800s.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Oh, I like this one. I don't know if you've heard this before. She has laid a stone at my door. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, no.
You're not?
No, I haven't. She's laid a stone at my door. I hope it's not stone isn't a euphemism for droppings. Is it that someone you've really upset your wife and so she's done some droppings on your doorstep?
It's not even that far off, if I'm honest.
Oh, God.
It means she has fallen out with me again, and a stone left at the door was a reminder not to bother knocking.
Oh, like
Don't you
coal
dare
in
come
your sock
knocking.
at Christmas.
Yeah, just put a stone outside. So if you went there to say hello and you saw a stone at the door,
Nothing doing.
nothing doing. She don't want to talk to me. Oh, I think you'll like this one. He does the devil's work for nothing.
I don't know why I would like that one.
No.
Well, I suppose he does the devil's work for nothing, so he's sort of he's not getting anything back. He just likes to be bad. He likes to be evil.
It is, and I reckon I'll people probably say this about me at work. It's generally said of someone who's very keen on using bad language. He's doing the devil's work for nothing.
So I can start saying that to you, can I?
You can. I like that one. All right, I'll do two more. The dog that fetches will carry. They're clever, these Norfolk lot, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. It depends what it means. So some of them haven't made any sense, so no.
This one does make sense, I'd say.
So if you put effort into getting something, then you will make an effort to do something with that thing.
Kind of. No, not really. Someone who tells you gossip will tell tales of you as well. There you go.
Why did you pick that one out?
Because if anyone's gossiping about it, I thought what it said made a lot of sense. It was very poetic. The dog that fetches will carry.
Very poetic.
I thought that was really nice.
Norfolk poetry.
Right, here we go. He's got the fiddle but not the stick.
Well, okay. Well, that means he's got all of the things, but he's not capable of using them. So he's got a really good guitar, but he can't play it.
Almost word for word. He's got all the books, but he ain't clever enough to know how to make use of them.
Well, there we go.
There you go. That's weird, Norfolk. That's Norfolk news.
Now, we used to...
Have you learnt something?
No, we used to...
I've forgotten them all already.
In between this section and the next section, we used to play a song, and so it didn't feel weird you going from pretending to be from Norfolk and just having your normal voice.
That's true.
But we don't have a song, so you're just going to have to do it.
I don't think I can. Oh, wait a minute.
No, it's staying, isn't it?
It's sticking. It's sticking. This is what happens if I have like 2 drinks. Become a bit Norfolk.
There we go.
Oh, dear. Sorry for the rest of this.
Now, as far as main topics for this episode is concerned, we had planned to do something with a list that I found, which is the 100 podcast ideas you could try in 2025.
There you go.
And I thought it would be funny if we just tried to do some of the podcast suggestions that they've got at random. As has probably been shown over the last however long we've been going, we aren't very funny, so this might be
terrible.
This might be a disaster. The only other problem with this is that I told Siobhan, as we said this on the last episode, it's the 100th episode, so we should definitely prepare for it. We should make it as best as it could be. Yeah. We should really go for it. Yeah. We should really celebrate the fact that we've put all of this effort in. Yeah. Siobhan forgot about getting any news stories until 5 minutes before we came on air, as may be obvious, and also ignored, I think, my suggestions and just found her own website.
What? I'm involving you in some of this catastrophe now, right now. I have been on some night shifts, and I said, "Tell me which 100 you looked up," and you said it'll be the first one. It's not the first one, it turns out, because I've been looking at an entirely different list to you, and but you said I can email it to you.
Yeah,
and you didn't.
I did forget.
And then I thought you didn't email it to me, so it must be the one that I've picked. And literally, as we sat here, we joked about how they might be different lists, and turns out we have been looking at 100 different lists.
But
not
also
100 different lists, 2 different lists of 100 things.
But you also claim to have prepared something for this, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what that means.
No, I didn't really prepare myself too much. I just looked through the list quite a lot.
You claim that you prepared something ready to tell the listeners the different ones that we've done. Was that?
Well,
did I get that right?
I went through the list and I tried to note down all the ones that I think we've already kind of done,
which completely ignored my premise.
Well, I wanted.
It's not about them being different lists. It's about them being different episodes.
True. So
which
really
one? So whose are we going to do? Are we going to do yours, or are we going to do mine?
Let's do yours, because I have looked at the list and they are fairly similar, and there's no like major problems with the differences.
Well, so my understanding of what we were going to do is that, so I've got 100 different ideas for podcasts. I thought at random you could pick a number between 1 and 100.
Okay.
And then we could spend a couple of minutes
about what we do that podcast on,
or just doing that podcast, or whatever comes up.
Okay, let's see what happens.
But except again, you stated for the record that you've prepared something for this, and I don't quite understand how that can be. Anyhow,
nothing worth using. Nothing worth using. Unless you pick the one random one that I've half prepared.
All right.
Which isn't a very good one.
Oh, great. So I'm sorry, everyone. We deserve this, right? We've put in hours and hours of our lives to these podcasts, bringing you all sorts of delicious tidbits and hilarious anecdotes and joy. We've just been pure joy for 99 episodes. We're now just going to be a mess. So, Siobhan, now
we're finally a mess.
So just to give you an idea, so this is from Innabella Media, and starting a podcast is an exciting journey, but deciding on a compelling topic and format can be challenging, as I think we have proved by the fact that we've never really got hold of one. With countless podcast options already out there, it's essential to create content that's not only fresh and engaging, but tailored specifically for your audience. I would argue, going through this list, that they've just named all the podcasts that already exist, and clearly there's already too many podcasts in the world.
I went through a different list by, I think it was called Riverside Media or something, and we're all aware that you went through the wrong list. Yeah, we did that. But so the list I went through, I did compare them, and they are basically exactly the same list. So again, just regurgitating things that already exist, which I find strange. And also, if you've made that suggestion, then surely someone's probably already thought that and done it. It turns out you can make a podcast about anything, as we are showing you right now. It could just be babble. But then the one I had said, you can make a podcast like this one. And then it's like a really famous, well-established...
Like Joe Rogan or something.
Like, well, one was about, it was like, you could, if you have an interest in therapy, you could do one on couples therapy or relationship therapy, like this Esther Perel one. And I'm like, but that is the exact, you're then now not doing anything niche or interesting.
I don't think that people in the year 2025 are trying to do anything niche or interesting. I think that they're trying to do things which you will click on in order that you will listen to a couple of seconds so that it registers to say one play has been completed. Yeah. And then they can just sit at home and pat themselves on the back.
Well, I think as is evident by the fact that these lists exist that are just regurgitating the same thing that already exists.
And so
let's just do it. Fuck it. Why not?
Pick me a number, Siobhan, between 1 and 100.
I'm going to do a number generator because I'm too lazy. I'm just going to randomly pick a number. And it is 16. Go.
Parenting tips and stories. Cover the ups and downs of parenting, sharing advice and experiences. Episodes might focus on challenges like sleep, diet, and child development.
Right, well, I have some thoughts.
Oh, do you?
No. There must be
This is how you need to look after your children, people.
Side note, there must be so many parenting podcasts.
There definitely
There
are.
must be so many.
Yeah.
There must be so many. I took little Jimmy to the hospital and they're trying out this rectal breathing.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. We've already done the child podcast.
It's worked wonders for him. How's your child breathing out of his bottom? I'm glad we don't know a thing.
I think we need to pick a new one.
Oh, let's pick a new one because I don't think that should be what we do. Number 47, David. Oh, I feel like
personal branding.
Personal branding.
Teach listeners how to develop and enhance their personal brand with advice on social media, online presence, and authenticity.
I mean, we're terrible at all that, but I would say that was something we've been commended on before, which is kind of, I think it's a weird thing to commend someone on. It's very telling of the time. But we've been told before that we're very authentically ourselves, which how can you judge if I'm authentic or not?
It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I think we are authentic, actually, and I don't think that's big-headed to say because I think we're authentic by default. I've just not pretending.
Yeah. But how can someone else judge whether you're
because
authentic?
I think you can judge that because I think it's extremely obvious when someone is inauthentic. And in a world where the vast majority of things being made are inauthentic, this is definitely true of music.
Yeah.
So someone can be really good, but you know without question if they're just going through the motions of like, I've learned how to play every different style of music on the guitar, and it's come to my mind that currently nu metal is the thing, so I'm going to be in a nu metal band. You know without question that it's not genuine. And you can't put your finger on why. You couldn't describe it. They're doing exactly what anybody else is doing.
Yeah.
But the difference between an authentic band and a non-authentic band is so obvious.
I think also in a world where branding. And so, for example, it's a horrible thing to keep harking back to, but social media really likes it if you have a face in it. And for example, like in a post or a picture, and if it's of you, then that would probably make sense. So I think more and more branding and business, for some reason we connect to it more if there's a person behind all of it. So I find it really kind of like, it's almost psychopathic that there should be training or podcast to be like how to be more authentically you.
Well, it's 100% psychopathic.
Which is kind of scary. It's just like, I need to be taught how to be me.
Yeah.
But to do it for the purpose of doing well at business rather than just want to be authentic.
But just
myself.
to be clear, this is saying personal branding. So I think it's even worse than that in a way. It's saying that you as a human, you're not trying to sell anything.
Oh, like as an individual.
It's just personal branding.
Oh.
So that's the problem, isn't it? So to be authentic, you just need to be whoever you are and see what happens.
Yeah.
You don't even have to look inwards. You just literally open your mouth and then just say whatever comes out. And that's authenticity. The problem is that what we're telling people as a society is that in order to be authentic, you have to pretend to be the person that you think that you are.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely that just confuses everybody's self-image, I think.
But I do think you have to, because of the way that the modern world is now, you can't do that without looking in. You do have to we've gotten ourselves into a situation where I do think you have to do a little bit of soul searching, a little bit of sitting with yourself to think, do I think this, or is this what I'm expected to think?
But that's got nothing to do with personal branding. So maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The idea of personal branding is
I would agree with
horrendous.
you. But the point I'm trying to make is that who you are is just who you are. So what personal branding is working out a way of pretending to be the thing that you already are. It's just putting more and more steps in between you. And so, of course, the easy way to do that is just to forget all of this nonsense and be who you are.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is, but then you won't really look like who you are. You know, if your photos aren't perfect, you need to take a perfect photo, but it also needs to represent the imperfection of you.
Yeah.
Which I think is extremely dangerous and making everybody very confused about who they are.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, they're not being themselves. They're not being authentic because they're just being the thing that they think other people want them to be. And then again, that's a slippery slope, which is self-perpetuating.
You've got to remove yourself a little bit. Well, I think we nailed that podcast.
There you go.
Next one, number 20.
Oh, going back.
Yeah, back and forth and back and forth.
Historical events. Share fascinating events in history, explaining their context and impact in an accessible way.
Well, I think we do this. We've done this quite a little bit over time, but just weird and wonderful historical events.
Well, that's probably not entirely unfair. I don't know how good we were. I think we've been fine when we've been describing our own histories.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it quite means.
Yeah, no, I don't think it means. I think it means like trying to unpick something that's like grand that happened of the past. What's your favourite historical event, David?
Well,
oh gosh,
what's my favourite historical event?
I've
been studying history,
yeah.
so as a result, it's probably something from that. I am fascinated by the invention of the printing press, and but that's partly because I've just fairly recently studied or at least touched on it, and I'm fascinated by the Industrial Revolution, which I think is influenced by the printing press, even though they're completely different times. But I don't know that I can tell you anything. I don't think I can explain the context or impact in an accessible way, but maybe I could.
I think you can, because can I just say the invention of the printing press sounds really boring. So tell me why it's not boring.
Okay, well, just to be clear, the invention of it is not the interesting thing.
Oh.
I don't mean as in somebody made the printing press.
Oh, yeah,
and it's
sorry,
that's a really interesting story. No, that is what I said. I'm just saying that's not the thing that's interesting. What's interesting about it is the way in which it then allowed information to be passed around. Okay. So it revolutionizes the world, because up to that point, very few people can read. Obviously, nothing can be printed, so anything that is accessible is only accessible in a handful of handwritten documents.
It takes a long time, so anything...
It takes a long time. And of course, this all comes about, this is why the Industrial Revolution is partly part of this, and why it's interesting, is because during that period of time, which is a massive period of time, you can start to move documents around. So the printing press is created, then things are printed on it. You can have vastly more copies of all sorts of different printed materials.
So more people
and
can
so
get it.
therefore ideas are able to be presented in this new way, fundamentally. As a result of that, more people learn to read eventually. This doesn't happen immediately by any means. So it has this revolutionary impact on the way in which people experience information, and also the way in which information can be held onto. So we've said this before on this podcast. It's really interesting that the like great thinkers of, you know, ancient Greece and you know, Marcus Aurelius or whatever, they may have had maybe had 2 books or something, and now obviously we can just go to a library or a bookshop or probably to the internet or to our bookshelf, and we have more books than any king or anybody who's ever lived. And so I find that fascinating, the way in which information has slowly but surely become such a part of our culture. And of course, so it's had effects on everything. It's had effects on both from an educational point of view and from a sharing of art and what have you. But also just think about all the things that you wouldn't have had, like manuals to do things, and you know, everything would have been handed down by word of mouth. And so that's so limiting. Now, I'm interested in it partly because I think that maybe it was better before.
Dave the Luddite, still here.
But, you know, I like holding those two things at the same time, and I find it very interesting.
Well, do you know what? On my list of podcast ideas, one of the ones that's different is one of the ones on my list said, explain a complicated concept in 5 minutes. So we've done both.
Hopefully in an accessible way.
There you go.
Pick another number, please.
Let's pick another number. 93.
93. They get desperate the further down the list
gosh.
they go.
Okay, we'll do
so
a
are you ready?
one, yeah.
Oh, wow. Breaking news analysis. Offer in-depth analysis of current events, connecting daily news to broader trends. We've literally done that already. Did you not hear about the Faberge egg and the bum breathing?
Butt breathing. All right, number 24. Swing back.
Survival skills. Cover essential survival tips from wilderness to urban settings with expert guests on self-defense, first aid and preparedness. Unfortunately, we don't have an expert guest up our sleeve at this juncture. Siobhan, tell me one survival tip.
Don't have any survival tip. Oh, when I was a kid and I went to Holt Hall to do an expedition thing, I think I was on the gifted and talented list, which says a lot because it turns out
had a yellow bus. I think
that's the code word for something. It turns out. We had to do lots of little survival things. We had to gut little fish and make little foods and make a...
make little foods.
I remember
when you're potatoes. When you had potatoes and you had to make them smaller.
We made chips. Anyway, we weren't...
That's not making little food.
We weren't very successful at a lot of this. We made you had to make shelter. You had to do lots of different things. And one thing you also had to do was make drinking water. And so we went and got a bucket out of the lake, and it was manky old water, and we were like, oh gosh, we'll figure out how to strain that or filter it later. Goodness knows what we're going to do about that. And you get marked about all these different things. So we forgot about the water and just started making our shelter, getting the fish, making small potatoes, and doing whatever else. And then our teacher comes around and checks everything and scores you. And the thing we ended up scoring the highest for was the water. The thing we left alone and did absolutely nothing to.
Did you actually drink the dirty water?
No, I don't think they made us drink the dirty water. So the way they judged it was
I bet you ate the potatoes, the small foods.
We tried to eat the potatoes and it was really bad. Very undercooked. You have to I learned the lesson. You have to parboil a potato before you fry it. I learned it.
Valuable.
That's not it. So this water, they took a little cup off the top and they were like, this is the clearest water. What have you done to it? And we were like, well, nothing. All the sediment had just sunk to the bottom.
It's
and all the water on the top didn't have bits in it. So you probably could drink the bit that was on the top because all of the gunk and stuff that was in this lake water had just completely sunk to the bottom. And they were like, we have no idea how you've made this water so clear. we've done literally nothing to it. Whereas all the others have been trying to chuck it through cloth and agitating it all the time. So just getting manky water over and over. I'm sure it wasn't actually, you'd probably have to boil it to like actually make it drinkable. But when in doubt, do nothing.
There you go, Bear Grylls.
And hope for the best.
Yeah.
Bear Grylls would have you gut a camel and drink the liquid that came off of its poo-poo. It's the only 5 minutes of Bear Grylls I've ever watched in my life. And it was awful. That and him just furiously licking a stone he'd buried. But I reckon mine is more accessible and useful than Bill's. So
there you go.
Suck it, Bear Grylls. What have you ever done? Should we do one more?
I was going to tell you my survival tip,
sorry.
which is the only thing my dad ever taught me, which is that if you jump... Do you?
Oh
no, actually, that wasn't the one. Sorry, there's two things he's taught me. There you go. Run at traffic. That's the one Siobhan's referring to, which I'll give you no more information about, but I think we've talked at some point on this podcast about. But
if we haven't...
No, if you jump off a high thing, like out of a tree, as you hit the floor, bend your legs, then you won't break them. That was what he taught me. I've never tested it to the point of jumping off anything too high, but when I was a kid, I genuinely believed that I could jump off anything, basically anything, and as long as I bent my legs, I'd be fine.
Doesn't your dad now have quite bowed
Yeah,
legs?
there's a lot of issues. Right, what?
I don't think he
Give us one more number, I think.
61.
61. Mythology. Explore myths and legends from different cultures, explaining their origins and meanings.
Ooh.
I get not one that we can do off the top of our heads.
Not one that we can do off the top of our head, but I think we've kind of, I don't know, have we ever really looked at some legends?
We've definitely talked about Joseph Campbell at some point. He's a mythologist.
Yeah,
you can't see Siobhan's face, ladies and gentlemen, but I can. But I don't know how much depth we went into. Give us one more, because I don't think we can do that one.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do one more. Number 3, early days.
Behind the scenes of industries. Each episode could focus on a unique industry, brackets fashion, music, sports, offering insider perspectives from professionals and experts.
So when I went through my, have we done these already or not? This was one that I think we've already done.
Oh, interesting.
Because I think we have talked about all of our jobs that we've done, apart from probably Waterstones. We have talked about psychiatric nursing to the nth degree. I think we could probably, I don't know, I think there's a little bit of an insight there. The cafe kind of started by talking about how we ran a cafe.
Oh, that's literally how we... in a way, you could argue, we haven't touched on this, that's sort of why we started this podcast.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why we started this podcast was that our cafe, after being there for 4 years, went out of business over lockdown. And, well, whatever.
There's a peek behind the business there.
We weren't able to open.
We chose to give up.
And I think that one of the reasons we did that first episode was because we wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because there were genuinely people that... I don't know. There were genuinely people that I think, really liked that cafe. It was a place that meant a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to kind of... I don't even want to say set the record straight. I don't think it was anything like that. Just sort of talk to those people and just say, we're really sorry that this thing isn't there anymore, but here's the reasons why.
It was also that we, being in lockdown and not knowing when we were going to see people properly again, one thing we missed was having the chat that we used to have with people in the cafe. And some of them we got to know, some of them we got to know really well and we'd call friends. Some of them we got to know only because they came in fairly frequently. Some of them only came in maybe once or twice a year, and you would still have fully fledged conversations. You'd know about them, they'd know about you, and it was this connection that some of it was very superficial and some of it became more than that. That I think is really important in human life, that we sensed we were going to lose by not having the cafe. And actually it turns out the whole world ended up, we were just very insularly concerned about us not having a cafe and not being able to talk to people. But actually, look what happened to the world. Lockdown ruined tons of people's ability to communicate with each other and to tolerate each other and to have good communication, good conversation, healthy debate. That kind of all sort of went out the window, which we were getting on a daily basis, face to face in that cafe. That was really important.
There's a funny thing. So 5 years on,
yeah,
just because we're in a position to talk about it, I suppose. Has any of that improved? Has that changed? Are we still living through a sort of post-COVID dark spot
Yeah, probably.
in the history? Like if in 200 years we look back on this period of time, 5 years of, I think most of us have more or less forgotten about lockdown. Not forgotten about it, but, moved on. And obviously there's going to be some people that were affected by it a lot more than others. And particularly kids of whatever, that sort of important age, if they were taken out of school during that time. But has the world returned to normal? Like I say, in 200 years, I think we're almost still going through it. If you look at it from a historical perspective. 5 years isn't a very long time at all.
Yeah.
From like a pretty big event, world event, of which we've never had anything quite like it.
I think when it comes... I think we're not out of it yet, in as much as I think it raised everyone's opinions. Everyone became really opinionated and really... And also, I'm very aware that this is from a very specific viewpoint, which I don't necessarily think will encompass everyone. I mean, of course it won't, but I think everyone became very opinionated, everyone became very insular, everyone found it very easy to find their own little group of people to agree with, and I think that hasn't really gone away. I think some people's intensity behind their opinions seems to have, and this is the other thing, I'm quite removed from a lot of this, not being in a band, not being on, I think I'm on Instagram, but I think Facebook probably had more space to have these arguments, and Instagram you can kind of flick past or just look at pretty pictures of dogs, so you don't really get too involved in arguments, as it were, or even see it or even aware of it. So I think, I don't know, some people have lost their desire to argue, which I think is a good thing. I don't think people...
I don't know,
but I don't know that for sure.
I think I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think it's a good thing. I think most people that have lost their desire to argue have just removed themselves one step away from society. I think maybe we've done that in some ways, but it's like it's not been replaced by anything positive.
No.
So what's happened is we all got riled up.
Yeah.
Everybody fell out with each other. The community that we were a part of fragmented in a lot of ways. And maybe people have stopped having those arguments, or not stopped, but maybe they've minimized having those arguments to some extent. But I don't think it's been then replaced with the thing that we had before. So no one said. So it's not like it's been replaced with something better. It's just that we've just removed a huge amount of our social lives.
I can think of maybe 3 ways in which it's gone, and one of them is kind of positive. Number one is complete removal, which I think has, it removes you from the bad things, but I think can remove you from communities. So potentially there are other people that see it as negative, and maybe it is negative. I think then there's people that have lessened their opinions completely, which I think there was people that got riled in the first place because they didn't really know else to pre-riled status, and maybe have realised that it wasn't worth doing, and have hopefully looked to other things to like kind of entertain themselves with.
And forgiven all the people that they were annoyed with?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know whether... because I think
definitely not.
No. Well, then I think, unfortunately, there's some people that have just kind of stuck it out. And then I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what's happened to everyone. I only know that some people who made a bit of a scene at the time that have now lost their riled upness have found more meaningful things since.
Good.
That I think is really positive. I would say that there are communities and friendship groups that are very disparate now, but I don't think that all people are now not doing anything. I think some of those people have removed themselves and found joys in smaller, more mundane things, but they are genuinely finding joy in those things. Whereas before, I think there was no joy to be had in just arguing with your friends. But this is a very specific... I feel like this is a very specific example.
Of course.
I don't know what the wider world is.
I mean, you're talking
like.
about people that you know or know of.
Yeah.
But I think you can do that, and it can be fairly representative of probably every people that everybody knows and knows of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But when it comes to like far right and real left stuff that seemed like it was exploding a few years ago, like I've heard that it's calmed, but I don't know. Not being in the news, not really being a frequent like listener of podcasts right now, I have no idea. I have no idea what the world's like at the minute.
No, and that's good.
Yeah, that'll do us.
But I tell you what the world isn't like. You all probably thinking to themselves, "Oh, they're winding down now." Thank God for that.
Yeah, gosh, it's been going on a while.
This has been going on. This is the longest episode of this podcast for ages. I'm sick of it.
They haven't even talked about.
But I
Jesus.
have to listen to the end.
Yeah.
I must listen to the end because these are my guys. We've got one more bit for you.
Hey.
Pictures up.
Rolling.
Rolling.
It's the trash. It's the sweet, sweet trash.
To avoid fainting, keep repeating.
I love what I see.
Leave the auditorium. It's only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie.
So those of you who would have listened back in the Breakfast Punx days, we used to do a film review every episode, and today we thought we would bring it back with, we had to. We found out about this film, and it was like, oh my God, that is going to be such a classic.
Just for the record, we didn't have to.
No, we really didn't have to, it turns out. But we couldn't let this one go. So we watched Glowzies from 2023. Now, Glowzies is directed by Hank Braxton. And the keen listeners
You all
amongst
knew that. You all
keen
knew about
listeners
Hank
amongst
and
you
his
will
film
remember
Glowzies.
Hank Braxton, isn't that the guy that did Snake Out of Compton? You'd be right.
This is a really deep. This is a real deep dive.
This is a massive deep dive. So was it our first ever episode?
Yeah, the first ever episode.
The first ever episode we reviewed Snake Out of Compton, which I think was like 2015, 2016. Who knows? Go back and listen. Go watch that film. It was actually quite good.
I remember it being good at the time, but we'll get to that.
And so we were like, I remember that being good. We didn't go back and listen to our episode. We have no idea. We didn't rewatch it. This is going to be amazing. And this is what this one's about. A group of aging military vets and social influencers battle glowing, vomit-spewed zombies in this zany, family-friendly horror adventure.
Starring James Remar from The Warriors and Streets of Fire. And
He's in Streets of Fire?
Yes, and he was, I think so, anyway. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, let's say he was.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Just to be clear as well, we gave up the movie reviews very early on because we weren't very good at them.
Yeah, we're terrible at them.
So, get ready for that. But James Remar is a proper real life actor. He was in Django Unchained. I can't remember. I looked through all of his films, and he continues to be in big budget Hollywood movies.
He's the dad in Dexter, you said. And that's a very frequent...
You would think he's made enough money.
Yeah.
And hold on, you told me the same year that he made this film, he was also in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, which is like a bona fide, recent classic that everyone raved about. So
his career is very confusing because this film is trash beyond trash. I don't know why we used to do this to ourselves. There was a time in our life when we thought watching bad movies was just zany fun.
just so
Great
weird.
time. This is an hour and 23 minutes that I will never get back. But if you want to waste an hour and 23 minutes of your time, this film is available for free on YouTube in a number of different places. I remember Snake Out of Compton being quite good and kind of fun and a bit funny, and it surprised us that it wasn't as bad as we were expecting. I think that we're very different people 5 years later, because I imagine that it was probably exactly the same as this film.
Possibly. I mean, I don't remember a single bit of this film being good.
There wasn't a good bit of this film.
Clear, the storytelling is completely shocking.
No,
it ranges from absolutely no direction whatsoever to the characters literally spelling out to each other, and that's how you know you're watching a very good film, when two of the characters just sit there telling each other what's happening in the film, and then this is happening, it's because those people are in this building, blah 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 blah. You know that the film isn't going to make sense, hasn't made sense to that point.
Well, the very start of the film, there's two men in a cafe and they're both doing Rubik's Cubes for some reason. The Rubik's Cube, I think, does come back, but they're doing Rubik's Cubes and they're sort of talking about Rubik's Cubes, and then they just suddenly start talking about the entire backstory of the entire film.
Yeah. From
start to finish.
Yeah. Do you remember when this guy used to work in that lab?
And it's all about an old mill.
Yeah.
that for some reason has zombies in it who glow.
They found a substance that they called stenium because the man who runs the mill is called someone Steen. And this is like a chemical that doesn't exist on the periodic table. And it makes people glow, but it also turns them into zombies, but it also erases their memory. And it could be really powerful as a weapon, but no one's really clear as to why. And that's about as good as I can explain it.
Gunky vomit.
Oh yeah, and it makes you vomit. It's very unclear.
Do you know who did find it clear? One IMDb reviewer who said, "I really enjoyed this movie. 8 out of 10. Glowzies is a movie/film that I found on streaming service Tubi. It interested me, so I watched it." So he's getting in hard there. "I really enjoyed watching this film/movie." He swapped those around. I don't know whether that's meaningful or not. It was movie/film and now it's film/movie. "And everything about this movie," no longer a /film, "feels great to me, including its story, acting, special effects and so on. I feel like the zombies in this movie/film look great. And in terms of the kills/deaths in this movie/film, I think that they are pretty nice. I, social media content creator Luna McCong Salsa, think that this movie/film is a very great/good movie/film. I am personally fine with Hank Braxton doing/making/producing a sequel or other zombie movie, brackets, if he wants to do that."
So when people interview the people in Silicon Valley about AI and what its uses for the future are and how it's going to further the human race, what it's actually doing is a bot sitting on IMDb making that.
Oh, I
There's
thought you.
no way a
I thought
person
you meant
wrote
what they're actually doing is speaking in a very similar way to Luna McCong Salsa.
Luna McCong Salsa is an AI bot. That's
No, of
awful.
course, I'm saying that the people that created AI also talk in this way.
Disgusting.
Because they're autistic psychopaths. So, did you find anything nice at all? Or funny or interesting or God help us, Siobhan, because we are not good movie reviewers.
No. So I wrote down, I didn't write down a lot. So I really liked the OTT foreshadowing that happens. There's a bit where a man is going to trip up. He's got really long laces and he trips over a nail and they show the laces on these shoes about 5 minutes before, and you're like, why on earth are you showing me really weird laces?
Really long shot of
like
laces.
a really long shot of like absurdly big shoelaces, and then a nail gets shown, and then like 5 minutes later he trips on this nail. I just like how absolutely stupid that is. One thing I really liked is we watched Napoleon Dynamite recently, and one of the lines that comes out of nowhere, he goes, "I cooked you this delicious bass." And it's just so wonderful. But there's a line that I think is aiming for that just comes out of nowhere in this film. He goes, it's a boy trying to swoon a girl in the same way. He goes, "I should play you a surf ballad."
Well, there's a lot of surf
What's a
ballads
surf
in
ballad?
this. Well, there's loads of them.
It turns out there is
but they're all made, I assume, by AI or certainly on a synth.
Someone McCain, because it comes up a lot at the end. Someone they know made all these terrible, terrible songs.
One of the songs is an instrumental surf ballad, I assume. It's just a really bad synth surf song.
Yeah.
And the only lyrics at the very beginning are "Chicky chicky chow chow, wiki wiki wow wow."
It's a good film, this.
I remember that.
Just to tie those two things together, which seems bonkers, foreshadowing and surf ballads.
Oh, I thought you meant wiki wow and chicky chow.
Wiki wow, chicky chow. As if to like bring it full circle in a way that I do not understand. So they're having a face off with the zombies. And the main girl who turns up is like the granddaughter of the mill owner, and the military vets are people that worked at the mill. They throw her a Rubik's Cube at one point as if that's going to be the answer. I don't know how it's the answer to anything. And they say something like, "Yes, the surf tempo." And so it's like
there's an element
bringing
to
together the surf ballad shit with the Rubik's Cube that they used as heavy foreshadowing at the beginning, to then somehow that ends up being...
Well, they don't like music, I think, these Glowzies.
That's it, they don't like
so
music.
So they play the surf music in order to make them go funny.
And then there's like a device that she has to like click around a bit that maybe is something like a Rubik's Cube. It's so clunky that it's actually painful, and you're not really aware that the film's even coming to a conclusion. And then all of a sudden the zombies are dead and you're like, sorry, what the fuck just happened? Which is, I think, a really good sign of storytelling.
Well, there's one really good bit just before they work out just before they play the music, and it sort of calms them down, and so they're fine.
Yeah.
And they're all relieved because the zombies are trying to kill them, and the music has calmed them down. And then, apropos of nothing, one of them just says, "Whistle and see what they do." So somebody whistles, and then they go crazy again and start chasing them. Why did you whistle?
It's so stupid. The only other redeeming feature is the chef that has been secretly drugging these military vets their entire lives, so they don't remember what happened at the mill where they found this goo. Who knows? And so he's just been a quiet background character. And then when the zombies attack, he's ripping off all his clothes. He's very muscled and just starts punching the heads off the zombies. And the very final scene, for no reason whatsoever, is a close-up of the muscle chef flexing his boobs.
Oh yeah,
that's the end scene.
Yeah.
There's
well,
no
actually,
reason
isn't that's like mid credits as well? It's like it's as if
we've got to go back for
we've
that.
got to go back for this guy.
Yeah,
he's got
we
big
nearly
muscles.
left him. Very strange.
We didn't use those enough.
No.
I was distressed to find that in this movie where they're talking about like the olden days were 1991. That distressed me greatly. That's, I suppose, makes perfect sense. It's kind of like in Stephen King movies that I watched when I was a kid, you would think of the 50s.
Yeah.
And it would be black and white and everything would be a completely different world. Now, 1991 is that.
But they even made the newspaper look like it was from the 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just says 1991 on it. And you're like, oh my gosh.
There's a nice bit where the influencers who turn up and they say that they're making a documentary, and it's basically somebody walking around with his phone. One of the old men says, "What's he doing with that calculator?" Which I quite liked. There's a nice bit where the girl whose grandpa's mill it is says, "Wow, all of grandpa's history is here." And it shows the area that she's looking at, and there is one boombox and two torches. Seems like an odd history.
That's a very strange history.
There's one hilarious long vomit scene, which is where they've obviously just stuck one of those pipes on the side of somebody's mouth and they really go for it. And the guy that's doing the vomiting is he reminds me a bit of Matthew Lillard in like the Scream films. He's the one of the most annoying human creatures I've ever seen in my life. And he's obviously trying to do that comedy, and but he's not very good at it either. And it is extraordinarily annoying. But he turns into a Glowzie at one point, but they obviously don't want him to finish as one. So they just make him vomit for ages in a sort of supposedly comedy scene where he's got a pipe with loads of goo coming out of it. And then he just vomits the Glowzie out of himself and he's fine after that.
But up until this point, the vomiting spreads it. But on this particular occasion, it rids him of it.
It's very
so it makes
strange.
no sense. I would say I did see, when that scene happened, I thought, if you get the opportunity to have a mess around one of them tubes, you do just make the longest vomit scene you can possibly make.
I suppose that's true.
Like, it must be very fun.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Nothing about the making of this film looked like it was fun.
No.
The very start of the film, there's some mountain bikers. So they kick off with some real action shots of mountain bikers. And they're the first people that come across the Glowzies, and they obviously get killed in one of those scenes.
I would
that
say
all
it's not
horror movies have. No, it's not obvious.
But then the whole point to them is not obvious.
But the mountain bikers are obviously supposed to be the sort of cool kids. Like, they're kind of rebels.
Yeah.
They kind of, they go, there's a gate. They don't care about the gate. They just bang through the gate. They don't care. Except mountain biking is the least cool thing there has ever been. And they're dressed in the mountain biking gear, which is the least cool clothes you could ever wear. They've all got helmets on, like proper bike helmets on. It's like they're playing the role of sort of 50s greasers getting out of a cool hot rod and going in and getting killed by these zombies, except they're on mountain bikes in
with
embarrassing and
on.
Like funny little shoes.
Oh yeah, they've got the appropriate stuff.
Clip clop in this strange mill. That didn't work.
That did not work.
But the best thing about this film was the very last credit.
I've written it as the only redeeming feature of this film.
It is the only redeeming feature, which is that the whole film is dedicated to somebody's cat whose name is Goober 2.0.
Oh, well, I don't think they liked their cat very much to have made such a terrible film.
That's a good point.
But I'm sure Goober was a really lovely cat. despite this horrible, horrible film. Rate the film out of 10?
Oh, yeah, we used to do that, didn't we? Oh, I mean, none.
Yeah, I mean, is there any redeeming feature, that cat thing? Yeah, 0.5.
Again, what's the point? Oh, for the cat.
For the mention of a cat.
I'm also going to rate our lifestyle choices of 5 years ago that made us think that watching terrible movies with our lives was a good thing to do, and I'm going to give those as 0.5.
Listening back to that Lord of the Rings episode, yeah, it's a solid 1 out of 10.
We are silly people that have wasted 5 years of our life talking to you, silly other people.
Everything you've gone through and had to endure listening to us brings you to this moment.
Indeed.
There you go.
And may your moments in the future be wonderful. Please let us finish.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's been so long. And
thank you if you've listened this far. I apologize for everything that has come before. Not the 100 episodes, but just the last, I don't know how long, 2 hours probably.
Sorry.
I hope you found some joy in it. Thank you so much for listening.
Don't worry, we're not doing the films or the news moving forward. That hasn't come back.
We will be back with a normal episode, but not in 2 weeks' time, because 2 weeks after this episode comes out is actually going to be Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So I'm almost certain we might change our mind on this.
Not really sure when we're going to do that.
I'm almost one. No, we are sure it's going to be in a month.
Okay, there you go. It's in a month.
So
have a lovely Christmas.
Have a lovely Christmas.
Have a lovely New Year.
If you're a new listener, we put this thing out every 2 weeks. We do not tell anybody on social media about it.
Not because of this
we
embarrassment.
may or may not tell people on social media about this one, as it's the 100th one. So if you have suddenly thought to yourself, oh wow, these two are still doing that podcast, and you've managed to listen this far, then you're very welcome to come back in a month's time and listen to something completely different, because as you will know, if you've been listening, or if you go back and listen to the previous episodes, it's not really anything like this normally.
No, it's changed. We've changed. We've all changed. 5 years. Wow.
What a long time.
What a long time.
You can contact us on shamcityroasters@gmail.com if you would like. You are also very welcome to tell all of your friends about us, because like I've just said, we don't really advertise this. And we will be back in the new year, where it will really be officially 5 years of podcasting. We did take a break in the middle, but
yeah,
less said about that, the better.
But it'll be 5 years almost to the day that we made our first episode.
There you go. And it will be completely different. So have fun.
Woohoo!
And we will see you soon.
See you soon. Ciao,
Goodbye.
ciao. Bye.